trucking industry has an envious safety record when it comes to hauling the 2,200 products classified as dangerous goods. But in the rare instances where a gas or liquid does begin to escape from a tanker trailer, every second counts, and every type of spill presents a unique challenge. Planning ahead helps to keep a bad situation from becoming much worse. How do you prepare your drivers to respond to issues like spills? That's one of several questions I posed to fleet executives and safety experts at a recent roundtable of management best practices sponsored by Transcourt Tank Leasing. Let's talk about spill response. How do you prepare your drivers and your driver teams to respond to an issue like a spill?
I mean, most of our products are chemicals and hot products, so spills are a big thing, and fortunately we don't have them typically, but we provide the training with the drivers right up front that if it does happen, this is what you need to do. It's really important to train the driver on what type of product they're hauling, because it's different. They're all different. They might evaporate, they might be corrosive, they could be fuel. So they really need to know the product that they're hauling and then what they need to do. And typically the most important thing for them to know is, who do I call, right? The experts, we'll have our safety team that's ready for any response, and they need to know that they can call that safety team, and they're going to walk them through because not everybody's an emergency response expert, especially a driver. There are certain things that he needs to do right up front. But we do have the spill kits in the trucks, typically a 20-gallon pail, the different socks, absorbent pads, the disposable bags, the labels that go on them, the zip ties, the gloves, everything so that they're prepared.
Right now for me, it's probably the biggest single issue I'm having is small spills across the country. You're seeing, the 2-3 liter spills, and it's to go back to driver training, and it really is the experience levels. The new to industry drivers are having more spills, at least in the last 2 years it seems. Before that it was really mixes and fuel were probably the number one item, but right now it seems to be small spills.
Actually, that's interesting, because when I was asking the question, I was thinking more of that big spill that ends up on the news, affects your brand. But what you're saying is you also really got to worry about all the small things.
Oh yeah,
those are important too.
Well, you spill a drop right now. It's very important for our company, very important for our environment. If there is a spill, there's remediation. It has to be taken care of right away. It's important when we load or where we unload, and obviously when we're transporting as well.
We have a PTO set up obviously on our equipment, so we have that shaft spinning, say 1800 RPM, and it's right by that fuel tank. So you can imagine what happens if that drive line severs. So we just installed a guard. So if that shaft comes off, it's still damaged, all that stuff, but it's not swinging into the fuel tank. Once we have that fuel tank severed, now we have some of those environmental concerns and some of those stuff. So all the equipment, all our tractors have of that guard. We did incorporate in our spill kit a new product there from PEI. Basically what it is a very soft silicone type, and it has a feeding pull, and the pull has a tab at the end. So you just pull the tab and then pierce it in the tank, and then as soon as it goes in the tank, it flips open, and you just pull that and it just seals the tank. All the fire departments, all the emergency across the US and Canada use it. It takes seconds. Within 3 seconds you can stop a fuel leak.
Keeping that in mind, Bruce, taking it over to you from an industry supplier standpoint, how can the tanker design itself be helpful in mitigating the severity of a spill?
In terms of tanker design, what amazes me is just how robust the tankers are today. I mean, around our office, you've got nice, beautiful glamour shots of shiny tankers, but then there's this other book we have that's got the ugly pictures of the rollovers and the trailers in the ditch and the lead and pup separated, and it's a bit of a horror show. Thankfully, it's a very thin book because we deal with great customers. But it amazes me that I'm going to say 98% of those catastrophic events, there's no product loss. It really amazes me when I look at these pictures and I see, an insulated trailer that's just the skin's been ripped off. There's a massive, knuckle dent in the head, no loss of product. And so, you know, kudos to the manufacturers that build this equipment and design it. I think if I think back over my lifetime in this industry, I mean, I can think of just, you know, on one hand maybe the times that there was a product loss, you know, even in a catastrophic event. So I think the manufacturers have done and continue to do tremendous things in the design of the tankers.
Okay. Wally, when looking at your private fleets that would be buying such equipment, what do they look for? Is there anything in particular in tanker design that they're looking for? Anything that has been done in recent years that they feel is really improving the safety?
I think how you spec your trailer helps, and we put drip trays on for that reason, whether it's a small or large spill. We also put pails under the drip tray. So it's, I mean, I did cheat a little bit here. I talked to the trailer manufacturers before we got here, and there are minimum thresholds that they meet. So obviously they have a flat piece of aluminum, and when they're shaping it, so I guess the engineering part of it. So if they do get hit, that force is diffused. And I've seen pictures just this year, where a B train has been hit full speed, where it's actually, the pup has been pushed into the lead. The lead was inverted, not a drop spill.
Wow.
So it looked like a quad actually. And then in the second case out in the west there, I saw the same thing where the actual bumper just basically collapses, and the back of the trailer takes the actual brunt of the force. So in the way they design it and explain it to me is that the other parts of the trailer, even though they're impacted, are still going to adhere to the barrel. So you know, kudos for them.